There's a lot of things you can do with text that's probably right under your nose that you don't know about. So let's jump into it. So in my last video, I recreated an overlay that Formula One is using, as you can see here, and I had a question that was sent to me asking, how do you make two different font styles within one font node? So let's jump into that. It's actually pretty simple. I didn't go over it there because I only had one name to put in here, but if you have like multiple names or you want to have a couple of different letters that are stylized differently, that's why you would use something like this. So let's just grab some text here, or some video here, just so we have something to work with later in this project. And I'll get rid of the audio. And let's jump over to Fusion. And now in Fusion, let's just grab a background so we have something to look at. Let's actually look at this over here. So let's just grab like a blue, and then on this side, another blue, but like maybe lighter. And we can change this to like radial. So now we just have like a spot, a little circle. Okay, actually let's flip these around because that's the actual spot. Alrighty, so now let's add a text layer, and if we would connect these, so we have our text layer over, now I just put in here JRTV, and we look at this. Normally when I have this text layer, you would have, the ability to change fonts here, and that would change the font entirely. So the font layer is just a, this control is for the whole node. That's to control the whole node. And the same way with the color, if I was to change the color, it would change it for the whole thing. So if you wanted to, let's say, take the TV and maybe change the color of it, or maybe the J and the A for JR, maybe you want to change those or change the font, you could simply do that. It's not anywhere in here that you normally can access. If you don't know about it, you probably won't be able to find this, but within this area, if you right click, there's a ton of different options you can do. And these options that you are adding here, what they'll do is they'll add a modifier. And if you see over here, the modifier is currently grayed out. So let's click in here, and then let's do character level styling. And now we come over, now we have a modifier. If we take a look at our actual font here, if we're actually clicked on it, you can highlight and you'll see like the boxes around different things. So let's just highlight the J, and then I can come in and change that particular letter to whatever I want, change the size of it. And if you come over here, you can change the color of that particular A. But you can still, in the tools, you can still manipulate the whole thing. It's not like that is a standalone character. You can manipulate the whole thing and change, and with everything that you ever see, it has a little star here, you can, let me highlight that one letter, you can manipulate and add a keyframe to the different things. So the next thing that I want to show you here is to, let's actually have these two together. All right, so let's grab another text layer, and we'll just connect this up here quick. And we'll play this one over here. Let me just add in. The next thing that I want to show you is adding more style to your font itself. So if you come over here to like where we would change the color and the way it looks, the outline and so on, you can click right here and you can add more elements to that particular font. So if you wanted to, you could click on, and there's some defaults that are here, like this just says red outline, and if you enable it, that's what it's going to have right away. But you could change, this is just text, just so that if someone else is working on the project, they know what's going on with that particular node. But you could change it to whatever you want and do all the different parameters, but it's under a different element. So there's a lot of different customization that you can do, and we can add in a bunch of different things. Like you can now add a drop shadow, and let's change the drop shadow color, and you could come down here and manipulate that drop shadow to something, make it look differently. So there's a ton of different things that you can add to a font to spice it up. They're just referred to as elements. So you just add an element and then add something extra to it. And all of these things that I'm talking about, you can manipulate one piece of font or one text node to do all these different things, with adding all these different colors, with changing the font type and the color of the font. So let's jump into another one here. I'll just connect this up. So the next one that I wanted to show you is, if you were to actually, let's just use this font here. If we were to use this font here, and here this node is our current video. One cool thing that you could do is you could take this video and make it a and use the font as a mask. So let me show you that quick. If we take this and then bring this in here, you could take, or actually, let's grab a background node, just so that this is like the background that we're going to be doing. And I just took the alpha and moved it down. So this particular node, if we play it, it's just invisible. I'll bring it into here, but I'm going to switch these two. So this is the background node, so it's see-through, it's transparent, and then the foreground is that video clip. So if I play this over here, it's the video clip. So now if I take this particular node that had the different sizing and stuff and font, and I bring this over to here, now what you can see is this video is in here. So this is acting as a mask, and this video is what's inside that mask. So if I wanted to, I could take this particular node and we could, I don't know, do something like this where we see the font in here, and then we have this. And you could take any of these and you could bring them in here and act as that if you wanted to. It gets kind of wonky when you have this here, because it's just taking the alpha values. As you can see, we have checkering throughout this whole thing, and it has that weird background. So if we were just to take this and just put in some JRTV and then add this onto this particular node, I know this is getting a bit messy. So we have this here. This is what this node currently is, because it's being played on this side, and this is showing it's played over here. So now what we could do is we could just take the size of this text and scale it up. And then in the background we have that we have this guy with the cutout. So just something else that you could do. The next thing that we could do, and we'll just use this layer here, is if we wanted to have this size manipulated, in other things it was referred to as like a wiggle, you could just add a modifier to something. So in here there's a ton of different expressions you can get in. That's a whole nother animal, but you could just add in like a shake. And then what this will do is it'll do like a wiggle. Like you can see these values, they'll just switch, and you could add this to just about anything. The next thing I want to show you is if we were to, let's just add another text node in here, and I will add in a merge quick, and I like this background a little bit better. So we'll connect this into here, and then our text into here. So we have this, just size this up again, and add in a text. Now there are tons of different ways that you could animate your text, and this I think is like one of the most powerful things that you can do compared to like working with a lot of other editors, because the customization is on a whole nother level, and having an animation working with what's referred to as a follow. And a follow is, you could make a keyframe for an adjustment to happen, and you could state that that keyframe, everything else after that will have a delay of something. So you could have a delay of 1, delay of 5, whatever it may be, but you could have it delay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the size. So we're going to have the first letter get real big, and then all of the others are going to join in and get big as well. So let's do that. So currently here's all my text, and I'm just going to come in. I'm going to pick our first layer and then do a follow over into modifiers. We'll open this up, and now we can say, you know, how long is the delay? We can make the delay of, let's just do a delay of 1. Come over into our text, and let's say right here we're on this particular node, or we're on this particular letter, so we just have this one highlighted. That's the one that we're going to affect. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on here, and we're just going to come up a couple of frames, and then I'm just going to make this really big. And as you can see already, the others are following suit. So if I come here and let's do fit, now the others all come in. So, you know, you could do that and then add in other corrections that happen as well, where, you know, it starts out with a low transparency, and then by the time it gets here, or actually, let's go back to that. Come here, drop all of this down, right? And then by the time it gets here, then we take all of this and we just go 1. So now it all comes in, and you know, that particular thing happens. So additionally, we could come down to softness, and we could say, okay, our X and Y will first keyframe this to 0, come over here, or actually we'll go the other way around. So we'll come over and we'll make it very blurry, and then by the time it gets here, it'll be unblurry, right? We could do that, and then click on our Y, connect with, and then we'll have it connect with the other one. So now they're both connected. So it comes in blurry, and then it comes like into focus. There's really a ton of different things that you could do with this. It's just kind of taking the time to understand what each thing does and how you can manipulate it to get really cool effects out of everything. So the other thing that I want to show you, I don't know if you've ever seen this effect, like where the letters are changing, and then we have like a white that turns into a green. I want to show you how you could get one of these effects. Just one of the other little tools that you can do. Okay, so to do this is we'd first get our text layer, and we could just type in a bunch of stuff. Let's add this just to a black background for now. Okay. Play it. And then we could just turn this to, okay, the color really doesn't matter at this point, and then we'll just change the direction top down, and we could change the size of this a little bit. So in their video they had like all different types of weird characters, but now I'm just going to use what I have here. The cool thing that you can do now with this text, let's add a little bit more to fill it up, is we could right click here and then go to text scramble, and it'll add another modifier. And now in the modifier, currently it just has all the letters and numbers, but you could, you know, change this to whatever you wanted. So if you want to just like binary, like 1s and 0s, and have it switch back and forth, you could do that. But right now, if we just look at this, let's change the randomization to 1. But if we look at this while we play it, it's just changing like rapidly all of the, let's add some space in here, just changing everything really quickly. You see that? All right, so now we need to add in the white line, and then like almost like a reveal sort of thing. So to do that, I'm going to grab another node here, and we'll play it over in this window so we can see this. And I'm going to take this node and give a gradient, and half of it's white and half of it's going to be green. Okay, and I'm actually going to switch this up so it goes this way, right? And I kind of want to make that amount really short. Okay, so now we have that, but we want to be able to manipulate this from top down. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to add this in here. I'm going to change the length and width and then feather out the edges. The reason why I feather out the edges is because in the video the text like disappears a little bit, and we can actually bring this in. Let's not have a feathering so high. So like that would be good. So now we have that node. We're going to add in another node. We're going to add in a mask, or excuse me, a merge. And now this is going to go into the foreground. And then in here, our background is just going to go into the background. So currently this is what we have. And what we want to do now is take this text that we have, this text that just changes crazy colors. We want to connect this text, let's disconnect it from here, but we want to connect this into the mask. So now if we play this, we have the coloring from this node over that text here. And the cool thing I can do is we can then manipulate this, and we can kind of have it like, you know, go down like that. One of the things that I think I want to change here is change this up a little bit. So we have something like that. Let me actually drag all of this down to the edge, because I think I want to have it like a hard edge here. We can just manipulate this down. So it's a bit of a harder edge there, like where they're actually showing up. Okay, so now we can just have this come down and we'll have that raining text effect. So if I was to keyframe here, zoom out a bit and bring this down, oops, let's actually come back to like here. We'll keyframe it there. And then like here, we'll just have it drop all the way down, and I'll get rid of that keyframe. Now if I play this, let me make this an output here so we can look at it full screen. Now if I was to play this, it has that effect where the letters are changing, and we have a, you know, the white that turns into the green. And now you could just duplicate this and add a bunch of different, if you wanted different letters to come, you know, to come out, or different colors or whatever it may be. But it's just one of the things that you can do with a text node things. Unless you knew that it existed, you wouldn't know what you're looking for. But yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for how to manipulate text nodes and stylize them a bit better and add some animations and so on. But yeah, with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think about this one. If you have any ideas or suggestions, let me know down there as well. Again, my name's JR, and thanks for watching.